Hello everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Carrie. Today I'm recording December 11th, 2023, but this will go up later this week. I have some Christmas presents that I made that I'm going to share with you that I haven't given yet, and so I'm waiting until I give those before I can show them on my podcast. So let me get myself comfy here. I hope everything is going well for you. I've got a pretty full schedule the next couple of weeks leading up to Christmas. And so today's the day. I am wearing my dotted rays shawl that I made using a yarn that Fiber Hustle dyed. Erin dyed it and gave it to me last year, I think. So it just needed a little something on my shoulders. I'm not cold, but it just felt nice. I do have my Christmas earrings on, and that's about all the Christmassy stuff you'll find in this house. I don't decorate for Christmas. I don't like to decorate in general, and so decorating additionally just doesn't sound fun to me. And I used to do it when my kids were little, but I just don't do it anymore. But I like to bake. I've been doing some Christmas baking, so that's nice. And I'm just kind of getting prepped for all of that. So I hope you all are well and enjoying whatever season you are celebrating. And just thank you so much for kind of sitting with me and taking a break from the world's craziness, let's say. I want to share the quilt that I've got on the wall. It is a quilt that I'm kind of just slowly working on my sew group online. It is a pattern that one of my friends shared with me, and it's a free pattern if you go on the website for the kitchen table quilting, and it's called this is the mini plaidish, and she shows it as a tutorial. It's very easy to do. You don't really need it as a tutorial, but in one color it looks pretty cool. I have a friend that made it in shades of blue, and it looked so neat, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what a fun pattern, because it's easy, and it just has a really neat outcome. And she also shows it in kind of rainbow, and of course, if you know me, I gotta go rainbow. So I used the fat quarter stack that I got from Houston, and I showed it in my last episode when I went through my International Quilt Market weeks and I talked about that last episode. So I had that stack that was kind of a rainbow. It's more of a warm rainbow, but I thought, what a perfect way to use that stack. And I just added the white, which is kind of a slightly gray. It's called oyster, so it's not quite white. And I'm just slowly making my way through it. I have about 3-ish more rows to go, 3 more rows to go. And I'm just working on it when we get together and do our little sew thing and visit. And it's a really easy pattern, but fun to do. So I'm going to get those few rows finished, put it all together. And I'm thinking of doing some sort of a pieced border around it. I've still got to kind of play with what that might look like to just use up some more of that fabric. And maybe make it a little bit bigger. I'm not sure. I'll have to see what size it ends up being once it's done. So that's been fun. I've been doing quite a bit of sewing lately, actually. So I've been working on that. Then I also decided to do some handmade Christmas cards. Now, I wasn't planning on doing any Christmas cards. And it was like, oh, I really should. And, this and that. And all of a sudden I got this idea. Let me see if this works. It did. I decided to record a tutorial, which, I don't know, maybe I'll make it an annual thing, because I recorded last year. I did postcards, Christmas postcards, and I did a tutorial for it. And this year I did a tutorial for this year's cards, and I already have an idea for next year. But this year I did sewn Christmas trees. And like I said, I showed how to do this very simply on the tutorial that I recorded. Unfortunately, I recorded it this way, and I should have recorded it that way, but it's you get the gist. So you sew the card, sew your fabric, make the card, and then on the inside I put wrapping paper to cover the stitching, and then I cut out an ornament on my Cricut and did my little message. And voila, I have a Christmas card. So those were fun to do. I ended up making about 25 of them or so. So I just kind of got assembly line going, and I was making those while I was watching the Tube Dudes. So I'm not sure if you all have watched it before. Last year they did it for the first year, and this was their second annual. It's really fun. Just to get you in the holiday spirit of possible gifts to make and simple ideas of things that you can do to get ready for the holidays. So this year it was a Stuart from the Wool Patch. Then it went to Kevin and Ray of Needles at the Ready. Then it goes to Michael of Piece for Piece Crafting, and then Chip and Aaron of Fiber Hustle. So it just automatically just kind of went, from one show to the next in about 45 minutes. And I just sat and watched that and did some sewing, and it was really stormy here, and it was just such a lovely day. So that was a lot of fun. If you want to watch any of those, you can still watch them, even though they were live back on the 3rd or something that they did it. If you go to their channels, which I will link below along with everything else, if you go to their actual channel, there's tabs, and there's a tab for live, and so it'll be their videos will be under their live, and it was really fun. Stuart had a guest on that was very interesting, and yeah, it's like you learn something new every time. I love it. So I also made some gifts that this is why I'm waiting to put this video up, because I haven't given the gifts yet, and I plan on giving the gifts to them on Thursday. And so I'll probably put the video up after that. And I recorded a video explaining what I made and showing what I made, because I've already got them wrapped up, and I want to be able to share them because I think it's pretty cool. So I will put that video in right here. All right, I'm going to show you a few of the makes that I made recently for some Christmas presents. And I wanted to record a little something so that I could give them to the recipients, and then include it in this video so you can see what I made, because I think it's pretty cool. So several years ago, my mom was cleaning out some stuff, and she had some vintage quilts. Don't think they're antique. Well, I know they're not. I know for sure the one that I used is not antique. It's vintage, though. It's very old, and she used to use quilts. She's picked them up, at antique stores or whatever. They don't have any personal attachment or anything. She just decorated with them. She was cleaning stuff out, gave me some of the quilts because I couldn't let her just give them to Goodwill. Like, I don't know why. It was just sort of like sacrilegious or something. So I took them, put them in a tub, and they've been in a closet for years. I've taken them out occasionally because I've had this idea of cutting them up, believe it or not. And I decided that it was time to do that. So this is the quilt. It is a Grandma's Flower Garden. It is hand-pieced and hand-quilted. You can see the quilting here, and you can tell that it's hand-pieced because you can see the stitching. For the most part, it's in pretty good shape, but there's quite a few areas that were disintegrating, pulled apart, like the seams pulled apart. Some of the fabric was disintegrating. Let me put this here. This, you can see the edge. Really cool binding on the edge of this, but it's very worn out, very tattered. And it was like, I'm not going to use it for anything. I don't have anybody to hand it down to. I just have it because I'm a quilter, and like somebody put a lot of work into it. I'm assuming a woman, because it's old enough that I don't know that men had the time to necessarily put quilts together because they were out farming or whatever. But I decided to cut them up and make knitting tote bags with them. So I did. So it was really hard to make that first cut. Honestly, it was really hard. And I sat there and I was like, oh, do it. I don't know. Once I do it, I'm committed. And I thought, you know what good is this quilt doing sitting in a closet? So I cut it. Once I cut it, I was okay cutting more. But I cut trying to center a flower from the Grandma's Flower Garden. I didn't pay attention or worry about what was happening on the sides. It was whatever was going to happen was going to happen. But I wanted the center to have like a whole flower. So I cut out a piece of freezer paper in the size that I wanted so I could move it around the quilt, kind of try and get it centered, look around the center flower to make sure what was around it was in good shape. I did have to stitch some of the stuff up, some of the holes and some of the stitching that's come out. There were areas I just couldn't use because the fabric was too disintegrated. So I went through and cut some pieces, used quilt cotton for the bottom. I didn't pick it out as far as like it's quilted to another piece of fabric. In fact, I know it's not antique because some of the fabrics you can tell are just not like this isn't antique, but it's old. And the batting that was used is a polyester batting. So I don't know if it's a blend, but it's not a cotton batting that an antique would have been made with. So I just took it as it was, and I put a fusible interfacing on it to just sort of stabilize it. And then I quilted using a cross-hatching design. So this is what I quilted just over the top of it. And I didn't worry about what was happening behind it. I just did on the diagonal some cross-hatching. And because this part has the original batting and I put a fusible batting on it, it was nice and stiff, but the bottom needed double fusible batting to make it the same. Does that make sense? This has got 2 layers of batting. This now has 2 layers of batting. So it can stand up on its own. And I just made fabric handles with double layer batting so they're padded. I used muslin for the inside so that it kind of stayed with the integrity of the vintage quilt. And I did add, which side? Pockets. There's pockets in here. And what I did with the pockets, because when you look inside, it's like, oh, it's all the same color. Where's my pocket? Like I was just trying to do. And so on the top of the pocket, I did different stitching so that when you look inside, you can see where your pockets are. So it took me a little while because I was figuring it out as I went along, and I was like, let me try this and see if this works, and let me try that. Oh, that didn't work. I need to do something different. But then I finally got it, and then once I got it, it went really well. So I tried to cut out flowers that I felt kind of matched who they're going to as far as colors that they like. And they all have the same bottom, which I think that blue, which was left over from a previous quilt, really brightened up the colors here. And so the recipients will have different bags, and I did different stitching on the pockets, on the pocket tops, so that each one of those is a little different. Otherwise, they're the same size, the same everything, and they will get a nice tote bag. You just put, you can put a sweater in here. You can put a blanket in here. You can put your groceries in here. I don't know. I think they turned out really cute. I love it. Of course, now I think I need to make me one, but I don't have a whole lot of quilt left. As you can see, I sort of just dug into it based on, and it was like in the middle, it was wherever I could, because some of this fabric, there was a kind of a tan fabric. Of course, now I can't find it. That was pretty disintegrated, or it had just too much to really mend to make it good. Oh, like this piece here. I started to do it, and this fabric here was just too disintegrated. Like you can see here, that's not going to work. I can't fix that. But you can see the back where I did the cross hatching, and then I put fusible batting on top of this. So that is one Christmas present down. Got one more thing that I made that I've got to block because I knitted it. And then I think my Christmas is done. So thanks for watching. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Aren't those cool? I'm excited to give them to them and hope that they will like them as much as I did. I've got some ideas for maybe making something else. I've got a little bit of that fabric that I might be able to do something with. But anyway, it was a lot of fun to do. And it's always feels good to feel like to feel like I'm giving something that I would love to get myself. You know what I mean? So those took some time. You know, that's all part of the sewing things. Nothing goes real fast like that. And then I've also been doing some knitting and crocheting. Back in September, I started a crochet blanket for Jim, and I'm getting quite far on it. I'm almost done. He keeps saying he needs it longer, but I wanted to show because I haven't shown it in a while, and it's a full-on blanket at this point. This is the blanket that I'm making, and like I said, it's quite long. Now this is several skeins, and I did really good at picking the next skein that would just flow right in, and I didn't interrupt the color sequence or the striping sequence that it has until the last couple skeins I added, and they screwed me up. In here there was like a couple knots, and it totally changed colors, and it's like, oh well, it's okay. It's just a blanket for watching TV. So this end part. Yeah, that didn't jive so well, but you know what? It doesn't really matter. It's already quite tall, about as tall as I am. I'm 5'5". I just got measured, and I thought I was shrinking, and I found out I'm not, so I'm still 5'5". So that was good news. But Jim's 6 feet tall, and he wants it to be like where he can pull it up here while he's watching TV, and it's covering his feet. So I'm working on adding another, at least I'm working on what I'm hoping is the last ball, but he thinks he needs another one maybe after that, which I have. Let me show you what I'm using. This is Lion Brand Mandala, and this is the colorway Harmony, and it is a 150 gram, 344 yard acrylic yarn that is very, very soft. It is labeled as a 4, which would be worsted. It's a light worsted, I would say. It's a little, to me, it feels a little more DK, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. It's just a blanket. And I'm doing the linen stitch or moss stitch in crochet. Very easy stitch to do. It's just single crochet and chain 1. And you just keep on repeat. I like the fabric it's making. It's going to be a nice kind of weighty blanket, so I think he's really gonna like it. I can't work on it a ton. I get going on it, and then it's like I start getting pain in my thumb joint and stuff, so it's like just do it little bits at a time. All right, so what have I been knitting? I've been knitting a lot. I also enjoyed Black Friday sales. I bought a lot. So I'll go into that towards the end. So one of the first things I want to show you is, okay, this is the Peric Vest, and I showed this before because I've been working on it for a little while, and this is the yarn from Fiber Hustle called Larkspur, and I don't like the way I bound off the sleeve holes. You don't really have a sleeve because it's a vest, and I wanted to make it loose, and I don't know, I just feel like it's too sloppy. And I did, of course I had to do it again, you know, because they had to match, and I'm like, why did I do that? I should have just taken it out, which I'm going to do. I'm going to take out the bind off and bind it off differently. I don't think I need a stretchy bind off. It's an armhole. It's not a sleeve necessarily. I don't know, maybe I should wait till I block it. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll wait till I block it and bind off. Kevin was talking about a bind off that he did where he knit 2 together through the back loop, and it left it stretchy. So I might do that, but I have the neckline to do, and maybe I'll try that bind off on the neckline and see how that goes. So that got put away for a little bit because I don't like sitting there picking up stitches, and I got one armhole done and I needed to do the other one. I was like, oh, I gotta sit there and pick up stitches. Now I need to make a match, and so I sat down and did it the other night, and then I don't like my bind off. So I can remedy that. I can take the bind off out and rebind off. bind it off again, and it'll be fine. It'll be just fine. And then do the neck hole, and then I can wear it. So I'm going to work on that. I have to stop starting new projects, which won't happen. So a while back, I got this lovely yarn from Erin, Fiber Hustle. You can see a trend here. I love Erin's yarn. I love Erin. Anyway, this is a worsted weight. Let me get myself so I'm not tangled up. Okay. Worsted weight Targhee yarn. This is Cherry Blossom. 100% Targhee. Woo! From Fiber Hustle. And it's just feels so nice. And I love this light pink color. And I was going to make a hat. And I started to do the Cool Hoss hat, which has a 1x1 cable to it. And I was just not enjoying the cabling. It just was like, it just was too finicky for me and just was not enjoying it. And so I tore that out and I decided, you know what? Something I could use is some worsted weight mittens. So I decided to do some mittens, which I'm now tangled up in my cords. Here we go. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to do the World's Simplest Mittens by Tin Can Knits. If I can untangle myself. Oh, geez Louise. I just made it worse. Okay. Anyway, I've got it going. And I got about to here last time. The first time I tried it, and I cast on for the medium, and I was like, put it on. I'm like, it just feels too tight. Of course, I haven't done a gauge swatch or anything. I don't have big hands, but I think I have wide hands. And so I tore it out and started it over. So I think I'm about where I want to be. And I'm going to start doing ribbing. And then Michael on Piece for Piece Crafting on his live with Tube Dudes shared where he followed Drowning in Yarn, did a tutorial on using this pattern, which is a free pattern by Tin Can Knits, the World's Simplest Mittens. And he picked up stitches and added a convertible top. So I'm going to try that. I would really like to have some convertible mittens. So I'm at the point now where I will do the ribbing and then somehow you pick up here and then I haven't watched the full tutorial, but these will make really, really nice mittens. I actually could have used them not too long ago. We had a really cold spell where things were very frosty and cold in the 20s in the mornings. But this yarn feels so nice. It's going to be so nice and cozy and warm. And I'm really glad I'm doing mittens instead of a hat because I will use this more often than I would a hat. Because I have hats and of course I started another hat. So, but anyway, lovely the pattern's great. I mean, it's nice that it's free. You can also, I don't know if you know about the Tin Can Knits app. So they have an app and it's got some of their free patterns on it. And so you can go in and select what size you're going to make. And that's in my chip basket. And it will show you, when you pull up the pattern, it will only show you the stitch counts and measurements and stuff for that size that you're making. I love that. I started to do that, but I couldn't, there wasn't a counter system on it for me to like count rows because I want to count how many rows I'm knitting and that kind of thing so that the other side matches when I make the other mitt. So I want to make sure they're even. There's no way of counting that where I use my Knit Companion and that's got a counter system on it and I can highlight the sizes. But if you don't want to splurge for the Knit Companion, which I feel like is very much worth it, if you want to do a Tin Can Knits pattern that's free, download the Tin Can Knits app and it will have all that on there. So I started to, but I ended up going to my Knit Companion because it just felt easier. Okay, so something else I started. When I was going to Houston, I had talked about doing a muscle burr hat because I thought, well, that would be really easy to knit while I'm traveling. As you know, if you watched it, I didn't do any knitting. But when I got home, I cast it on because it's a really great project to just sit at knit night or whatever and knit it. So I am doing it out of a deep stash. I've had this yarn for several years. Bought it at Oregon Flock and Fiber many years ago. It is Huckleberry Knits. It is a gradient, and it is called Practical Tactical Brilliance. And this is where it's starting. So what's going to be cool, and I'm hoping it uses the whole skein, because I could wear it like this, but then it'll probably be somewhere in the greens, teals or greens, that will be the brim that could fold up if I folded up a brim. And then the inside, which you can flip around and wear it the other way, will be green with like the opposite. So I feel like I get two really different hats out of it. So this has been fun. I'm knitting it on a 3, I believe. I started, yeah, it's a 3, which is a 3.25 millimeter. I started with a smaller needle when I first started it, and actually I started here and I was like, you know, this just feels too snug. When it's going to be 2 layers, I didn't need it to be like super tight gauge. So I switched somewhere else in here. I just switched needles. I didn't start it over. It took a few tries to do the pinhole cast on. I don't remember what video I watched, but I watched a video on how to do it, and it looks nice. Mine turned out nice. And so, yeah, now I'm just at the point where you just knit. You just knit forever till you run out of yarn or something. But I think that's going to be a really pretty hat. This I will wear. I will, because it's rainbow. Purple and all the pretty colors. So I did that. And then at knit night, we were talking about, I don't even remember how the subject came up, but about how to use one of those Malabrigo Rasta, I think is the base. Is that what it is? It's like that big, like barely spun, almost roving, chunky kind of yarn. I got this free. I got 4 skeins of this yarn in different colors. A friend of mine had a friend who bought a storage unit, and there was some knitting stuff in it. So she just gave me the knitting stuff, and this was part of it. And I love it. I mean, the colors are just yummy, and I just thought, what the heck do I do with it? And so we were talking about it, and Erin's made a cowl out of it, which looked really cool. And I thought, okay, I could do that, but that seems kind of thick. And so my friend Lucy sent me a link to, oh, what is the pattern name? I need to look up the pattern name. The pattern is called the Cobblestone Cowl, and it uses fingering weight yarn and this big chunky stuff. And what you do, it's a crochet pattern. Which way is the right way? Let's see, I'm going this way. So this is the right way. And I barely got it started because it took me several tries to get my chain made and joined without it twisting. So I finally got it. But basically, you are taking this fluffy yarn and you're just crocheting over the top of it. And so it gives you these little cobblestones. And so I chose this purple color because purple goes with everything. And I'm putting that as my crochet color over the top of this. So, like I said, it was a few hours yesterday of me getting this far. I did a foundation chain, which I've done before, but I always have to look it up because I don't do it often enough. And so I got that okay. And then I'm like going through, making sure it's all straight. And then once you join it, you do another, round of single crochet, and it's like it's twisted. So I'd pull all that out, and it's over 300 stitches. And I pull that all out, and I do it again, and it's still twisted. And I'm like, I don't know how it's getting twisted. I'm being super careful. So what I ended up doing by like the 4th or 5th time is I figured what was my top edge, and every so often I put a stitch marker along the top. So I knew if I followed it and I kept those stitch markers on the top, I was staying straight, and that seemed to work. So then once I got that, I started to do the crochet, but like it took me this right here took me a few hours, probably 3 hours. But now it's going to be easy. And so I'm doing the initial round, and I have a feeling that I'll start putting the next stitches in here, and it should go pretty fast. So you just lay the fluff over the top, the fluffy yarn, and you just crochet over it. It's going to make an infinity style, so it'll be doubled up. It'll be nice and bulky, and it should just be really pretty. So, good for friends for watching out for you. I was like, she shared that. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to buy the pattern. And it was like in US dollars. It's an Australian pattern designer. And US dollars was like 3 something by the exchange rate. So it's not a very expensive pattern. And I don't mind paying for that. So I'm doing it on a 4mm. And it's been fun. But like I said, I can only crochet for so long because it seems to aggravate my thumb joint. Now, let's get into Black Friday. So several of my favorite makers had Black Friday sales. And, I want to support my friends. And I love pretty things. So I bought some stuff. And I just want to share them with you. Not to be like, oh, look what I bought. But because you need to see this beautifulness. One of the things I got was this lovely bag by Scrappy Angel. There's my muscle burr hat, which is so cool that you can see the pretty colors in there without the light glare. So this is her bag that has the clear vinyl, and it's a great size. It's just a great size. Sock size, single skein size, maybe 2, depends on what you're making. And it's got kind of a firm bottom. Its zipper's closed, and I love it. And I don't remember, she has her bags named. I don't remember which one this is, but she had a sale, and I love Angel, and here it is. So very cute little yarn balls on there. That was really thrilling to get. Something I didn't mention when I was showing my muscle burr hat is I got these adorable stitch markers. I've been seeing these on different podcasts. And so these are from Fox and Pine. And these are little goats, and then I have some purple yarn balls. And I like them. I'm going to need to collect some more because I've tried lots of different ways. These are not coming off. I mean, like, obviously you can pull them off, but they don't slip off. And they're super cute. So that's on my muscle burr hat. And then I've got to put this on a project. And then I got Pacific Nicco is a pattern designer. She does a lot of color work, and she's out of the Seattle area. And I've been following her for a while. And so when she had a Black Friday sale, I jumped on it because she has what she calls doodle decks. And so it's color work, but they're in like almost like playing cards. So this is the Seattle color work pattern, and it comes in cards, and you can see that there's the different charts, so you can mix and match what you want to make. So this one's specific, like you've got the Space Needle and all that on there, but she's got some really Sasquatch, but she's got several of the trees, and I thought even just doing the different trees or something. So it's really cool. You can mix and match them. Like I said, it also comes with patterns on doing a standard cowl and a infinity cowl. So she's like, there's got like the measurements, how many stitches you're going to cast on, follow these charts, and you can do it kind of a thing. And then the other one is her basic chart, which is just some really basic color work designs. But I love the idea. I think it's a very smart idea. You can kind of design your own, but she's figured out the charts. I even wonder if possibly I could do this on my knitting machine. I'm not sure. I'd have to make a punch card with, and anyway, that's down the line, but I thought it would be kind of cool. And I've got some sweaters that I want to make that could be cool to add something to it, even if it's, around a sleeve or something. I don't know. You don't have to do a full-on colorwork sweater, but anyway, I thought those were pretty cool. That's Pacific Nicco. This wasn't Black Friday necessarily, but it was definitely inspired by Cheva's Chevy Rouse stuff. She showed her emotional support chicken, and I had to buy a kit. I think it was on sale. So I bought Betty Egg Whites. Betty Egg White is the pattern. There's the yarn. It comes with the yarn and the instructions to make your stuffed chicken. So it makes this stuffed chicken, which I just thought was super cute. I love the packaging. It's like you've got a bucket of chicken. There's 0 calories. And it just looks like a fun project to make. So down the line, I'll be making this. I don't have any plans to start it right now because I need to finish up some stuff. But I mean, it was on sale and it was super cute and I had to have it. Okay, so then I went a little crazy in the yarn department. Let me gather. It is really a lot. So, whoops, back in, let's see, where do I start? That I already purchased. I put together this whole palette, right? Oh gosh, where do I even begin? Okay, let's start with Needles at the Ready. I purchased English Violet, which is just a beautiful purple. And this is Fingering, which I'm planning on using with some of the other yarn I got. And then I got this in DK, and it's called Iron Mountain, which I was like, oh, I'll make Jim a hat. And then I got it, and I'm like, well, it's kind of pretty. I don't know that I want to make him a hat with it. So I may still, I don't know. I struggle with making him stuff because he doesn't wear it very often, but he may get a hat with this. If not, then I will make something for myself with it. Even DK socks would be really pretty cool. So this was Iron Mountain, and this is English Violet. Then I visited Fiber Hustle. Gets me every time. So I made several purchases. Aaron dyed yarn to match some of chip baskets that he made. He made a lot of like winter themed fabric, and Aaron matched his yarn to the bag or to the basket, to that fabric. I just bought the yarn. So this, I just thought this was so pretty. All those really beautiful colors. Is called Snowflake Lane. I just think it's just really pretty. So I got that. This was from matching another bag called Get Cozy, and this is number 1. Then in number 2 was a darker version of this, so you could do a 2-color something. And then I got Paul Hollywood, and that will buff out. Look at this. It's so pretty. I've been eyeballing this for a while. So of course I had to get it when it was on sale. So when I got these, I was like, what was I doing? I said, this, it kind of goes with this. Then what if I put this with it? What did I do? I don't remember the order that it all came together. But then you add the purple. Oh, because I have a tablet. Got a new tablet cover. Sorry, I've had the tablet, but I got a new cover because my other one was falling apart. And the colors on the artwork on the tablet cover were like, oh my gosh, that's so pretty. And then I got this yarn that kind of like went with that color scheme. So this is ink blot from Needles at the Ready that I got quite a while ago to add to it with Paul Hollywood for a little light. And I'm like, those colors could make a beautiful sweater. Now I don't need this much yarn, but obviously, but all these colors just like go together really nice. And I thought, well, maybe I pop in a little orange, and then that just made it just go, yes, this needs to be something. So this is an orange that I dyed a couple years ago, or a year and a half ago or something, almost 2 years ago. Aaron came up here or down here, and we did some dyeing, and we were trying to come up with a burnt orange color. And this was like, let's just see what this does. So this was one of the skeins that I dyed trying to come up with that color, but it looks really good with that. And then you add some blues to it. I mean, so I had seen online somewhere a cardigan, and it had pretty wide stripes, and the stripes didn't match from one side to the next. They were like offset, and I liked the idea that that wasn't just matching. And I thought, what if I made a sweater, a cardigan, and I did it in panels. So you knit, I knit this one and the same on the back so that the back does the same thing, and then just do like a crocheted chain to kind of like, I would mattress stitch them, but like do a crochet chain to kind of hide that seam to make it be part of a design element kind of a thing. And I haven't been able to find a pattern for it. So I'm thinking of trying to do it on my knitting machine. So I have the Brother flatbed machine. I'm going to try and knit just a pullover and get like the gauge, the fit. And I think if I just split whatever stitches are for the front, because on the flatbed, you're knitting a front piece, a back piece, and 2 sleeves, which is perfect because I would want to have it be modular like that. And I could do the front piece, do a different sequence, same colors, but this different sequence of colors on the other side, and do the same thing on the back, and then the sleeves wouldn't match. And I think it could be really cool. Now, it could just look like, wow, you made that? Or it could be like, oh my gosh, is that, some fancy something? It could go either way. So I'm going to try before I dig into this beautiful yarn. All the yarn that I have is beautiful, but I'm going to try first with like just a solid color. I have like a chartreuse green that I've been wanting to make a sweater out of, that I might just do a solid and try that and see how that works. So something along the lines of this, which I just think is so yummy. And what's interesting is back in September, I did a pre-order from Destination Yarn. She had come out with this amazing colorway that just sang to me. And I got it just recently because it was a pre-order. It was going to be months out, which was fine as long as I got it. And look at the colors. The colors are the same palette that I'm trying to put together. So clearly, this is in my brain right now, this combination of colors. So this is Destination Yarn, Cowboy Take Me Away. And I think she did this for some fiber event that was happening in Texas. But I fell in love with it. I don't have plans for it. It may just be one of those that just sits there and just, enjoys being beautiful all by itself. But I thought it was really funny because I literally got this like at the same time I got all this other yarn, and I thought I just put together that same palette pretty much because now that I've got this purple, I may not use the ink blot blue. I don't know. I don't know, but I got possibilities, and it's all good, and it will make, I'm hoping, a very pretty sweater. And then I just received my last Black Friday purchase. So last but not least, from Trilogy Yarns, I got Sea Urchins, and this is a fingering weight yarn with all kinds of pretty colors in it. And that was all my Black Friday purchases. And that was good. I don't get presents for Christmas, so I get to buy myself stuff. And I was supporting indie makers and stuff and small businesses. So I was doing my best to keep that economy going. So I think I've talked about everything. Okay, so I hope you all have a wonderful holiday, whatever it is that you celebrate, and can find some peace and joy in your lives amidst all the chaos and negativity that can be out there. I hope you hug your family close and your friends and just try and spread some love. And I will not be back on until after the new year. I will be going away over the Christmas holiday to the coast with my family. And then it'll be the new year. And then I'll be back to who knows what'll happen. So love to you all. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And I will see you in 2024.